Guys, let's move to Pitt at number 15, Georgia Tech. And the Rec is favored by 2.5. 6 p.m. game on ESPN. The odds to win the ACC right now, Trey, this has been your pet cat. Georgia Tech still at plus 175. Pitt all the way down at plus 850. If you listened to Pat Narduzzi last week, that ain't no thing. They've still got everything to play for right in front of them. But guys, Pitt coming in with a bad loss. They got blown out of their own building by Notre Dame, but that was kind of in the metrics, evidently. Georgia Tech really struggled with Boston College. A 2-point win at Chestnut Hill to send Boston College, I think 1-9 is what the Eagles are right now. I don't have a lot of confidence in what Georgia Tech is doing. They're playing up and down to their opponents. Who knows what you're going to kind of get on a week-to-week basis. Like, Trey, does it feel like Georgia Tech's running out of a little bit of steam right now?
It does, and that's why I'm going to take Pitt outright here. I think they get it done on the road in Atlanta and throw a wrench in this ACC race once again. It pains me to say it, guys. I know y'all put me under the wheels of the Ramblin' Wreck multiple times on that graphic, and listen, feel free to do it again if it means Georgia Tech gets their win, and we're all happy about that, happy for Haynes King. But man, I just hate this matchup for Georgia Tech. I think that the 2.5 points is a sign that this is a really even matchup on paper, and Georgia Tech's getting the benefit from home field, obviously, but Georgia Tech's defense is bad right now, guys. In the last 4 games, they've given up 324.8 yards through the air. The last 2 times out, they've allowed 48 and 34 was to Boston College, like you mentioned, who was averaging, I think, sub 20, maybe even sub 15 in games against Power 4 competition this year offensively. It hasn't been good, and Pitt's offense is still very good. I know that they did not look good against Notre Dame last week, and I know the final score is going to make this sound crazy. I think my process in picking them was on the right track. They were 0 of 13 on third down. How was I supposed to predict that Notre Dame was going to allow them to go 0 of 13 on third down? That's not going to repeat itself, I don't think, especially against Georgia Tech. But man, the Pitt's offense is still good. I love Mason Heinschel. I think he's going to match up very well against this Georgia Tech defense. And I think the Pitt defense matches up very well with Georgia Tech's offense. Pitt's still top 5 in the country in stopping the run, even after that Notre Dame game. And Georgia Tech really likes to rely on yards after contact in the run game and yards after catch in the passing game. Pitt's top 10 in both of those, but it's stopping both of those defensively. So bad matchup. I don't love it. Georgia Tech kind of, got the win last week. Obviously, it was huge to get escape with that win, but the win's kind of out of their sails right now. So I'll give one more stab before I turn it over to the Georgia Tech lovers on the podcast, the true ones, not the fake one and me, apparently. But it's cliche. We all know it's football 101, but third down's going to decide this game, guys. When Pitt has the ball, they are 120th in third down conversions, but Georgia Tech's only 69th in stopping it. Not very nice. And when Georgia Tech has the ball, they're 9th in third down conversions, but Pitt's 27th at stopping. So kind of a good on good matchup there. Whoever wins that battle, probably going to go a long way in deciding who actually wins this one.
Garrett, we've got the engine light is on. We've got low tire pressure. Something's rattling in the back. But we're riding with the Ramblin' Wreck once again. We are driving this thing into the dirt. That line makes me so incredibly nervous. Trey makes a very compelling point. The numbers do not appear to be in our favor, but you've got to believe, man.
Yeah, it's at this point for me, for Georgia Tech, it's starting to feel like the Ramblin' Wreck is looking a lot more like the Bluesmobile at the end of Blues Brothers, where you got to say, our mother of blessed acceleration, don't fail me now, right? We got to get to Richard J. Daley Plaza. We got to make sure that we can, mail in the 5,000 to make sure the Penguin can get her rent paid and all that stuff. Like we're at that point with the Ramblin' Wreck where, look, in October they looked fantastic, right? I've got their schedule up right now. They beat Virginia Tech by 15. They went out and beat Duke on the road by 9. Smashed Syracuse. And then the calendar flipped to November. They lose to NC State, and they got a whole bye week to just barely escape BC. What are we doing? And it's starting to feel like everything's coming apart. And if you remember, at the end of that movie, when they park it in that, Richard J. Daley Plaza, that whole car falls apart right there. But it got him there. That's the point. It got him there. And Georgia Tech is on a mission from God, and that's the whole point that I've got right now is just it just feels right. It feels like they got to make it. I believe in Haynes King. I'm going to have a really hard time picking against him down the stretch with just the way that he plays the football game. It's just what he does, right? It's a dangerous spot for them. They could be looking ahead to Georgia. They could be, kind of peeking on to next week and getting ready for that game. But for no reason in particular, I'm just going to pick them to rise to the occasion. I think they get it done. I think they cover the 2.5 points. I think they'll win by like a touchdown late. It could just be a tie game where they've got a drive at the very end, and Haynes King finds a way to get it done. I just believe in this team. I think it's a good football team, and I think they're going to do what they need to do to set up the dramatic moment, which will be next week against Georgia.
Yeah, that's the thing is like they play up to their competition just as much as they play down to their competition, right? And they are at home. I love the head ball coach, right? I mean, Brent Key's going to have everybody fired up. If Georgia Tech loses this game, it's not going to be for like lack of focus, right? It's just going to be like the car broke down. They ran out of gas. I'm riding with the Rec one more time. Let's cruise into Atlanta for a rivalry game against Georgia. Let's go to the ACC championship game. Yeah, X's and O's, not in a great spot right now, but you do have Haynes King, and I believe in the man under center. 807 rushing yards to his credit so far this season. It would take a Herculean effort, but we've seen it from him before to get back to 1,000 yards. Jaden Daniels obviously did that in 2023 during his Heisman season. Before that, you have to go all the way back to 2016, 2017 to find Lamar Jackson, who ran for over 1,000 yards as a quarterback, because of course in college sack yardage is counted against those. So it's just been, a wonderful run as quarterback at Georgia Tech. I want to see Haynes go out with a championship. So I'm going to believe until that dream's dead. I'm going to take Georgia Tech to win this game as well.
Shun the non-believers, Mitch.
Listen, I might have to get back in Canvas, see what we can whip up if we end up being right.
Final ACC game. Title scenarios, guys, just there real quick. Georgia Tech is in with a win. They are at the mercy of the tiebreaker gods and need to root for some other teams next week if they lose. Pitt, if they win, they're in a good spot, but not necessarily guaranteed at this point, because there's some other teams that could win and knock them out in a tiebreaker.
And they've still got to play Miami.
And they still have to play Miami.
They still have to play Miami.
Hopefully they load it up on hot dogs. Need those hot dogs at the turn.
Glizzy at the turn.